Reading the Kingdom episode 168. We're nearing on that 170. We've got our combine winners and losers, and free agency is in full swing, except for the Broncos, who aren't really doing anything. But the Chiefs and the Raiders are actively making moves. Yeah, you guys are just hanging out, I guess. But let's start with our combine winners and losers. Coach Nick, how are we doing tonight, fellas?
We're doing good. I'm bummed we didn't get to do our pre-combine episode, but I think most of our guys that we picked had decent combines that we were going to preview. But I think we're all picking different guys for our winners and losers.
Yes, yeah, and I think there will be some debate with those winners and losers.
Yeah,
right, Nick. Yeah,
I think there will be.
You think there will be? All right. You know what, Nick? Let's start with you. Let's start with you, bud.
Pivoted in the last 30 minutes.
No, I didn't.
No,
I did not. No, didn't pivot on nothing. All right, Nick, you're going to start. Winners and losers from the combine.
You want me to do both, or do you mean start with one and then we go around the whole?
Yeah, let's start with one. Let's do winner round.
Let's do winners. Yep.
And then
let's do winners. I'll keep it reasonably short, but my winner actually was Quinshon Judkins. I've been a Travion Henderson fan the entire time, and that's kind of who I wanted the whole time. And I'd still like him. Don't get me wrong, but for his 40 was impressive. Judkins was. He only ran, I think he ran a 4.48, and Travion Henderson was like a 4.43, which is a difference. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, for being that much bigger, I thought he had a really impressive combine, and that 40 I think helped him a lot.
100%. Judkins is the one I've been pitching you. You keep going on Henderson, and now you're on the Judkins train.
I don't know which train I'm on, to be honest with you. We need explosion. So I really just kind of wanted the fastest guy we could get. Fastest plus actually being talented at running back, not just as fast as possible. Right. And to me, Travion Henderson was just more explosive. He was a bigger splash player, and he still might be, and he still probably is. But I do think Judkins helped himself a lot with that 40 because he showed that he's right behind him, and he's a lot bigger. I think he's like 6 foot, 220-ish. So if you can run a 4.48 at that size.
When you watch his on-field workout too, I mean, he's got great lateral movement. He's got burst. He's got he's a standout. You could tell.
Yeah.
Yep. My winner.
Yeah. No, I think he had a really solid overall combine. My pick was going to be Ollie Gordon, who back when we were doing our preview, there's just a lot of good running backs. I don't think there's going to be many bad choices as far as running backs goes, just how they pan out. So my winner, I'm doing Landon Jackson, defensive end, Arkansas, just kind of an athletic freak. It's kind of inconsistent at Arkansas, but he kind of finished off the season well. Had a good combine at Senior Bowl. Just some stats on him. So this dude's 6'6", 264. Had the best vertical jump of any defensive lineman since Myles Garrett, who just got paid $40 million a year. And he ran a 4.68 40 at 264 pounds. So he's extremely athletic. If he goes to the right team, aka maybe like the Chiefs, and you pit him with the Greek Freak, and you get good coaching with Mr. Steve Spagnuolo, that's a huge piece. Do I think that happens? Probably not, because the Chiefs have other needs. But I think that dude's going to be a stud. He's got all the athletic ability, and sometimes when you have all the athletic ability, you just need the proper coaching to fully unlock your potential. And he made himself some money for sure at the combine by his performance.
I like that one. Yeah, that is solid. My winner is Shamar Stewart, defensive end from Texas A&M, the Aggies. Oh, we got a comment here from NE. Rams signed Devontae Adams on a 2-year deal. Oh, we're going to get into that one once we go into free agency, my friend. But yeah, that one hit right before the show started. So Shamar Stewart, I'm still not sold on him because of his college production. He had 4.5 sacks his entire, I think it was 3 seasons. And people were comparing him to Myles Garrett because the reason Shamar Stewart is a winner for me is that he had an explosive combine. He hit essentially a perfect score on everything. Once again, an athletic freak. And then people made the Miles Garrett comparison, who had, I think, 32 and a half sacks in the same span of time in college. So 4.5 to 32 and a half. The math doesn't math. So I still think he's the winner because he's going to get drafted really based on potential, which is kind of like why the Raiders drafted Tyree Wilson, which didn't really work out for us. But I think his draft stock is definitely going to go up after a performance like that. I don't think he has to do anything on his pro day, but Shamar Stewart definitely, turned some heads at the combine for sure. Now, Nick, your loser.
So,
Loser.
I'm going to preface it for everybody out there and say that Coach stole my loser. So the Coach's loser is my biggest loser. I'll just say that. I will pivot, though, and I'm going to go with Isaiah Bond. He was obviously inconsistent in college, and the 40 is kind of what everybody was counting on. Big, deep threat. And it was decent, but you can't come out and say that you're going to break the record and then not even get close to it. I mean, he wasn't even close to the record.
Not even close.
And now, is he going to go undrafted because of it? Obviously not. But it's just a bad look to me, especially with your inconsistent tape already. I just didn't like it.
No, I mean,
he's probably overall still one of the better wide receiver prospects in this draft. But when you talk all that smack, especially about one of your former teammates that you're going to smoke his 40 times and you don't even come close, it's really not a good look. But if he shows some humility and then actually has a good pro day, I don't think it'll drastically drop his draft stock, but he definitely didn't make himself a lot more money or go up a lot more on the draft board. I don't think he necessarily
100%.
shot himself out of maybe the first or second round. I think he's probably range.
He's a day two guy.
He's a day two guy. If he ran a really good 40, he's a day one guy.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I talked about with Judkins. I talked a lot about his 40. These skill positions, specifically receiver, that's the number that people are looking at. And again, a 4.4 is not a bad 40. I mean,
not at all.
In this draft, it's pretty mediocre because this was like the fastest, I think, receiver draft ever, and as far as like average. But you just can't talk all that talk and then not even come close to the record.
Agreed.
That's what his name is going to be synonymous with when you talk about the combine now.
Yeah,
the guy that said he's going to break the record, and I think he said at least a
4.20.
No,
didn't even sniff it.
No, not even in the realm of possibility. Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to take or give you my loser of the draft or loser of the combine for myself. It is Tez Johnson, who is actually Bo Nick's brother. So Tez Johnson, adopted brother. Yeah, okay. His family adopted him, which is a cool story in and of itself.
That is cool.
Anyways, he weighed in at just 154 pounds, right? So he's extremely, extremely light, especially for the NFL game. How he survived in college still at that weight is impressive.
He and I weigh the same amount. That's cool.
Yeah, and so you would think with someone that light, he would just absolutely blow away the 40-yard dash time. Not at all.
You'd think he probably about broke the record, right?
Yeah, you would think, but no, he ran a 4.51, which is faster than me, but in light of what his weight is and just what his ability would be in the NFL or what people would use him for, he didn't do well. I don't know. I think being 154 pounds, an undersized wide receiver, there's going to probably be some question marks whether you're going to get drafted. Now, if you're running a 4.22, 4.23, you just got blazing speed, they can find a spot.
Get a shot.
They can give you a shot. But I think Tez Johnson, by far a day 3 pick. I think with a good combine, he was a day 2 pick, potentially. Definitely a day 3 pick, potentially an undrafted guy. Had the opportunity to definitely turn some heads, and I don't think he did. Maybe he does a little better at his pro day in Oregon, but he had a decent vertical, he had a decent long jump, so he's got some other skills. But when you're undersized, you have to be faster than than the rest of the guys. And he wasn't. So I think that hurts him, but we'll see. He seems like a good dude, but just not.
Well, and he's almost the opposite of Isaiah Bond in the fact that his tape is really good. He's a great separator, and he's been an unbelievable receiver, especially when he was with Bo. But just at that size, that 40 is brutal. And he knows it.
Yeah. So, like I said, he's got a lot to prove. So the man's going to be hungry. That's for sure. Someone's going to give him a chance. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Denver, just because.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is probably really good for Denver. If they wanted him, which I'm assuming Bo does, I don't know why he wouldn't at least want to give him a shot, because he's not going to be highly touted. But not that he was super highly touted before, but now I would be reasonably surprised, I think, if a team ended up with him that wasn't Denver at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, if it's like you're drafting this dude in the 6th, 7th round, I don't see that being an issue. But
Lewis Wilson going to be a rough year. Lewis, I don't know what team you're referencing.
I think we know which team he's referencing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So
we can ask.
It'll yeah, I wish him the best, but he definitely needed to run better.
Yeah. I think if you check kind of all the winners and losers columns that are being written, that's the one name is consistent across the board. That's the one. Yeah, which is unfortunate for him. I've got Shedeur Sanders as my loser.
Loser.
He also came across as a loser in many of these articles and such. So he showed up. He didn't participate in anything besides the interviews. And then the feedback from the interviews, not from everybody, but from a few, is that he was brash, arrogant. He kind of acted like they needed him more than he needed them. That's kind of what I got from his media interviews, was that he's the savior to whatever franchise takes him. Buddy, you were the consensus number one 3 months ago. Now it's Cam Ward every day of the week. I would think you'd want to show up and throw and do something. And everyone says that he's not an athlete. Well, if you can prove them wrong, prove them wrong. He's showing me that probably can't prove them wrong. I mean, he said he's going to show up at his pro day.
He's never been known to be an incredible athlete. I mean, that's just not the way he plays.
Yeah, he's not like his dad, and that his dad, Dion, back in the day, it was about as brash and cocky as he could possibly be, and he backed it up. Dion, all-world talent, right? I mean, he was a top. I think he was a top 3 pick, and he was a cornerback, right? So that says a lot in and of itself. There's not been many like him before. And I think Shedeur, the humble gene is not something that I think the Sanders really have. And I think he could have handled. It's good to be confident, but I think when, a lot of people rate you as like a fringe first-round draft pick, quarterback wise, people when there's a need, you're gonna go higher than probably what your talent is, and I don't think he did himself any favors with that.
So you agree he's a loser?
I think he handled himself in the sense that he could have gone in there and interviewed better and ate a little bit of the humble pie. I get it. There's a lot of guys who don't go out there and throw and run the 40 and do all that. I get it. They're waiting for their pro day for their receivers. He just didn't. I don't think gain himself a lot of fans.
No, and we all, and I said this and I got some flack for it, but we all expect them to go to the podium and say, "I'm the best edge rusher. I'm the best quarterback." Like that's kind of the standard. But then to go out and just talk about how I've turned everything around, I turned this around, I'll turn your franchise around. Like, good luck going to Cleveland and turning that around, because no one can do that. Also, the Patriots just signed Harold Landry for $43 million on a 3-year deal. So
3 years.
Yeah. So the deals are starting to come out now.
We'll update you when you hear. But there's. I'm gonna preface this by saying there is absolutely. It's got nothing to do with how Shedeur Sanders looks. It's got to do with what his play is and being humble, and the fact that like you're coming into this. If your name was Shedeur Washington, right, and you didn't have a famous dad who was the coach of your team and all this other stuff, the hype and all this other stuff probably wouldn't necessarily be there as much. and you would have to eat that humble pie. You're choosing not to because Sanders is your last name. And obviously he did good at Colorado. He did good, and where he was at before as well. I mean, we're not saying that he doesn't have talent. I think he doesn't have as much talent as he might think he has.
Yeah, he's still my QB2 in my draft rankings, and we'll go into our quarterback rankings in another episode coming up. But yeah, but you can't say that it's that the comments I've made, some of the comments we're making about him have anything to do with his demographics, because Cam Ward is also in the same demographics, and no one is saying that kind of stuff about him. So there's something to it that people kind of need to look beyond the surface for. So
100%.
So why don't we? What? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Talk about Shador.
You want to talk about Shador? Well, you didn't jump in, so I was waiting.
No. I was letting you guys go off for a second.
Letting us go off.
Here's what I'll start with. In this question, we're saying did draft stock go up or down? I think you're right, and I think it went down. But I don't think it should have, because number one, let's start with Colorado, because I've been a Colorado fan. He did turn around the worst college football team in the country. Division I, period. They were an atrocity. Like,
okay, let me ask you this. You put that more on Shador or Travis Hunter?
Or on Dion?
Or on Dion?
Both. I mean, everybody, obviously. But
not Shiloh.
You got to – no, not Shiloh.
Terrible.
Poor guy. No, not him. But no, I mean, obviously you can't discount Travis Hunter. I mean, he was a Heisman. However, Shador Sanders is also now the most accurate quarterback in college history. So you got to start there. But he did turn it around in Colorado. They did. I'll be honest. I don't know how Jackson State was before they got there. I can't imagine they were great.
They were good.
They were really good before he got there?
Oh, before they got – okay. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Before he got there. So from what I've heard, he turned them around too. I don't know that for sure. I'm not going to pretend to be a Jackson State expert. But him saying that all he's done is turn around these places, he has. He's not saying he did it alone, but
he made it sound like it.
Quarterbacks have to be confident. That they have to be
confident versus cocky. Though that's what I'm saying is the difference there. Like if you're going to a job interview and you walk up to the podium like this, I don't even wear my hat like this on a podcast. He's got it like that, and it has nothing to do with anything. But he looked as relaxed, which is fine, but as relaxed and casual as
they're not going to draft him because he wore a backwards hat.
No,
that's a bad franchise. Then
it adds to the. But there were already two GMs that said after their interviews, no, he acted like he was too good for us, and he didn't even really care.
Well, he's and I'll even say maybe he's cocky. But here's the deal: do you want him to come in this interview and fake and pretend to be somebody he's not? This quiet little mouse that nobody cares about. That's not who he is. Like, why go in and lie?
But I just don't think there's a genuine personality to him. Like, there's flashing the Rolex. Then there's like I watched a lot of the Prime documentary to try to get like more of an in-depth look at him, because you can watch all the film you want, but to look at like how he speaks, and sometimes he would be kind of like humble and very supportive of his teammates, and then you see the other flashy, the Dion influence side, and it's I don't know.
Yeah, I get it, but what everybody seems to see as abrasive and cocky, I just see as confidence, and all anyone's done is talk shit about him 24/7. Like, that's all he's heard for years. And he's probably just sick of it, because I'd be sick of it.
I'm enjoying it.
It's obnoxious. Yeah. Everyone has. But he's been really good, and he had some good weapons with him. Again, obviously, Travis Hunter. But other than Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn is going to be a day 3 guy at best.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's 5'7". He's shorter than I am.
Oh, yeah. No, he's
a little guy.
And I thought, getting off on a side tangent, I thought his 40 was going to be a little bit better too, which is unfortunate for him, because I really do like him. I really like LeJohntay Wester. But anyway, back to Shador. I think he is better than Cam Ward. I do, and I think he knows that.
I was
and
going to
think
ask
he
you. I
knows
was going to
that
ask you
too.
that next. Do you still because when I said I
Mhm.
wanted Cam Ward, you said I don't care as long as you don't get Shador Sanders. Right now,
Yep.
Cam Ward looks like he's going to be number 1 or 2. You still think Shador is better than him?
I do. I still think I take Shador.
Man, we're gonna have fun when we do our QB rankings episode. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I mean, after that, it's pretty lame between those two. But I think everybody just looks for every reason to hate Shador. And I would way rather him go up there and be cocky than be a quiet little mouse because that's just not who he is. And if you're going to draft him, you want to draft him, not some made up version.
No, I can agree with that. You want come out and don't fake it, but
So if you, we'll end on this note. So if you were not a Colorado fan and you were like a Michigan fan, are you still taking Shador over Cam Ward, or is there a little home court bias?
I mean, obviously, we'll never know the true answer because it's hard to completely remove yourself.
Right.
But I do just genuinely think he's better. I really do, and we'll see. But as far as like not doing any of the drills or anything, like nobody does the drills. Like all of a sudden, Shador's the first one to never do the drills. Like
no, but I think when you have something to prove, like if I'm teetering between 1 and 2, and I want to make sure I'm 1,
right. And
if
you could
Cam
run,
Ward just sits on the sideline like a goon, and then you're the one out there throwing.
And if you can run a 40 like Lamar Jackson, then sure, you do the combine. But that's not where he's going to excel anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah, he
would
wants to have
run a mid 40.
No, he would just be exposed. I bet he would run like a 4.7 or something. But
yeah, and everybody would make a big deal out of it. It's like, who cares? Like, why do we care what his 40 is? He's not a runner.
And if he does, damned if he don't.
Yeah, it just most big quarterback prospects now don't do any of the drills. So that was another thing. It was like, I don't know why everybody cares all of a sudden that Shador's not doing any of the drills and there's all this outrage on Twitter. And then immediately they're like, yeah, Cam Ward's not doing it either. But like nobody cares. It's like it's the exact same thing.
No, if he's number 1, he has nothing to prove. That's the flip side of it. Why would I? Because he's not going to increase. If you're number 1, you're not going to increase your stock.
So fine, but what is Shador going to increase by doing any of the combine drills?
It might call
that's
into
not his
question
game.
whether or not, yeah, but you never know. It could call some people could call into question whether or not he's better than Cam Ward if he's going to actually compete and show his stuff. And obviously, he's a talented.
He's still got his pro day.
Yeah, that's where he says he's going to show out. So we'll see.
Yeah, he'll throw.
His pro day you got to wait for is Jalen Milroe. Oh my God, he's going to dazzle everyone.
He's going to be a classic Zach Wilson 70-yard bomb.
Oh,
the Raiders are going to pick him at 6. You ready? You ready?
I would even be upset with that if they picked him at 6. All right, so we're going to pivot on to free agency. Coach, you guys kind of opened it up with a transaction we didn't quite expect. What is that?
Yeah, so the Joe Tooney move was a little bit of a surprise. Woke up to some text messages, and I was kind of woke up and half asleep when I saw them. I was like, well, shit. But I also realized that you can't, as an NFL team, you can't pay multiple guards exorbitant amounts of money. So you had to make a choice. You went with the younger All-Pro with Trey Smith. They franchised him. I'm okay with it. Joe is, dude's got 4 Super Bowls. He's a stud. Love him for what he did for the team. Was the ultimate team guy playing left tackle, even though you're a guard. So shout out to him for a great Chiefs career. I have literally nothing bad to say about him. Earlier today, we re-signed Nick Bolton. Love that deal. I think it's very affordable, and it's a 3-year, $45 million, $30 million guaranteed. He's going to be 25 tomorrow, so his prime years. He'll have some prime after probably the age of 28 too, but we're getting a really good chunk of his prime, I think at a reasonable rate, which is important. And then for my free agent that I look for the Chiefs to sign. So I think I said this to you guys. So when Joe got traded, I believed that, we needed cap space, but I thought that tomorrow the Chiefs would be going hard in on Ronnie Stanley for the play left tackle.
Staley, you got
Staley,
it.
yeah, Staley, sorry.
Staley.
But no, he re-signed with the Ravens, so that kind of put a dent in that plan. So Cam Robinson, Cam Robinson got franchise tagged twice by the Jaguars. Did a decent job filling in Minnesota. I think if you can get him on an affordable deal, put him at left tackle, it's not the worst move because the Chiefs have to figure out something left tackle wise. At 31, you're gonna have to trade up to get one of the elite guys, but I don't know if there's necessarily an elite left tackle in this draft. So I think a safe bet is Cam Robinson, and somehow you're going to end up having two former Jaguars as your right and left tackle, which is not the best news. But anyways, we'll see what happens. But eventually, actually, it was going to be Devontae Adams until about 30 minutes ago. So,
right.
The reason I was picking Devontae Adams, A, I think he still got some juice left, and B, just to piss you off, because it's all love, man.
Because I don't want him. We're done with him.
But you don't want the Chiefs to have him.
Right. I don't want my best friend to date my ex-girlfriend, I mean, it's not cool. Although we're definitely not best friends with the Chiefs. Has anything, and then you guys did sign, or you re-signed Nick Bolton. And everyone on Twitter and all these other things, there's a difference between signed and then resigned. And don't say, Coach, ooh, college boy. Okay. It drives me nuts. The Raiders.
No, I get it.
Re-signed so-and-so. No, he didn't resign. He didn't quit his job. He was re-signed.
Yeah, no, I get that. So I'm happy. I'm happy with what they've done so far. They'll figure out something with Trey Smith. Now someone brought up about Travis Kelce coming back, right? So Man Beautiful's back. Travis Kelce, love the man. He's not worth $19 million a year. So that's got to get fixed. Some people are like, well, if Kelce had just retired, then they probably can keep Joe. I don't know if that's necessarily true. The NFL, like we've talked about, right, in the draft, it's so important, these middle rounds, to get guys to fill in. Trey Smith was a 6th-round draft pick, right? Travis Kelce. So, filling out your team, that's how you do it in the draft. And then free agency, when they get good, sometimes you keep the guys, sometimes you don't. So, anyways, where I'm going with Travis Kelce is you need as much cap space as you can to kind of fill in holes and needs for the team, especially on the O-line. And obviously, we re-signed Hollywood Brown too, which I think was a good deal. I had called that earlier. I knew they were going to get him back.
Is that because your other receivers are sitting in jail?
No, neither of them are sitting in jail. The only person that's receiver sitting in jail is in the top left up there, Mr. Brenda.
He's getting out soon.
He's still in jail. And we all know that the Xavier Worthy thing, there's maybe some truth. I'm not going to speculate. I'm
going to. He's the Scranton Strangler, dude.
He's not the Scranton Strangler.
He's a Scranton Strangler, dude.
No, I don't believe that.
Suddenly the charges were dropped. Oh, we arrested someone famous. Their lawyers are going to make this go away because the cops probably did a half-assed job.
We'll have this conversation off camera. But so Cam Robinson, again, this is not a great free agency class to have a lot of money to spend on. It's just kind of like, it's not a great draft class to have the number 1 pick. It's really just So I'll take Cam Robinson. If you could sign Cam Robinson to a 2-year, maybe $35 to $40 million deal with $20 million guaranteed. He's got an opt-out. I'm good with that. But I don't know. He'll probably get over. There's going to be a lot of guys that just get overpaid. That's bottom line. So,
is there anything that you've seen that suggests or that makes you indicate what direction they're going to draft in based on the moves you're seeing right now?
Based on the move, I mean, I think everybody and their brother thinks the Chiefs are going to go offensive lineman. And there's been some guys, I did on our mock that, even Nick mocked us a O lineman. So I think there's some guys that are at the end of the draft that are serviceable. The Kingsley Sumatra guy from BYU they drafted last year. We had a lot of high hopes on him on left tackle. A lot of people think he's probably better suited for guard, so he can kind of slide into where Joe was. Trey Smith, the veteran, you get, the rookie from last year there, he can play guard. But the thing is, finding a left tackle, dude's like finding a quarterback. To find your franchise left tackle, Orlando Paces, they don't grow on trees. So trying to find a quality left tackle is not easier. It's not like Veach hasn't tried. but I would have to think tackle. If a Luther Burden fell to the Chiefs, I could see them potentially going that route. But we have we have our first round pick, we have our second round pick, we have a top 2 selection in the third round, and then our third round pick. So there'll be some movement, I think. But I trust Veach and the scouting department to get what we need.
That's funny you say that, because Burden is dropping out of the first round for really no any reason that I can tell. He's just a lot of like the big dogs like Daniel Jeremiah and Mel Kiper just kind of leaving him out of the top 32. Nick, I don't know if you've seen anything to explain that.
Nothing in particular. Obviously, this year was lackluster, to say the least. I mean, it wasn't, but a receiver is a dependent position. Brady Cook spent some time injured. If you don't blow people away in the combine and your last production was iffy, you're just not going to bounce up boards. Now, I think he could be a steal in the late first round.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think the best player in this draft is? And do you think the best player in this draft would hop over any of the top guys in last year's draft?
Just top football player?
Top football player. I'm talking top. I don't care what position he is. And is there a guy? I'll say this. So any of the top guys in this draft, would you take them over any of the first 5 picks of last year's draft?
So my top guy is Travis Hunter. I haven't shied away from that.
Are you going to take him over Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels?
So that's the thing.
Drake May.
You're never going to do that as a quarterback needy team. As good as Travis Hunter is, if you need a quarterback is more important than receiver and corner combined. You're not doing anything without a quarterback.
Nick, as you mentioned quarterback, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's more breaking news. Ready for this?
Go ahead.
Josh Allen gets a new contract.
Ooh, baby.
6 years, $330 million, $250 guaranteed.
Didn't he just get signed last year?
Largest guarantee ever given to an NFL player. Oh,
damn.
my God. Yeah, he had 4 years left on his deal, and then they do this.
Crazy. Well, maybe it frees up money. And Nick, you can finish. And this just came to my head, so I have to get it off my head so I don't forget this. Don't look like that, Nick.
No, not you. I was processing the contract still.
Nick's on the same page as
the dumbest team in football resides in Ohio. And that
Cincinnati Bengals.
It's the Cincinnati Bengals. Saying that last year you could have gotten Chase at probably 32, 33 million. Now you got to pay him over 40.
What are they doing? I don't understand any of it.
It's mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing what the Cowboys and the Bengals have done. That's why we have a competent GM. I think you guys in Vegas have a somewhat competent GM.
I like Spike.
And then you have one in Denver as well. But just it blows my mind, dude. It really does.
Every hour that goes by that they don't sign Micah Parsons and they don't sign Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, it's going up. It's going up.
Trey Hendrickson is in between. I think Trey Hendrickson is in between, maybe a little bit below what Max Crosby got, a little bit. Yeah, I'd say in the Max Crosby.
But he's going to say, "Look, I was the sack leader last year. Pay me."
Yeah,
it's the top 3 to 5 at pretty much any position. Whoever's due for the new contract is going to be the top paid. It doesn't mean they're the best one. It means that they're close enough to the best one that when it's their time to get paid, it's their time to get paid.
You're right.
Which is why, by the way, we need to sign Nick Bonito as soon as possible.
He looked so good. Like last 6 games of the season, he
was third in the NFL sacks. I mean, but
and you took him in the second round, right? He wasn't the first round.
Yeah, second round 2 years ago. But it's one of those things like if you think he's going to put up at least that much production, sign him now because next year it's just going to be more expensive. And it's amazing that teams don't realize. I mean, obviously they realize it, but like we do the same thing every year where teams will just try to wait.
It's a salary cap. So if you got him for 2 more years under team control, yeah, that might bite you in the ass. But if you're kind of like in a win now mode, you're not going to, put. I'm with you. I think it's not the smartest move, but I'd love the Chiefs to get McDuffie done this offseason. I don't know if that'll happen. So, yeah. Anyways, we spent too much time on me.
Yeah. So so you segued me into it. So the Raiders signed Max Crosby to a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
His guarantee money was out. Everyone's putting him in Packers uniforms and Chiefs uniforms and making my life miserable. So he gets 35.
If he had gone to the Chiefs, what would you have done? I just got to know what you would if Max Crosby ended up getting traded to the Chiefs.
I'd probably stop watching football, to be honest. I probably just my Max Crosby jersey would be edge. It would be off the balcony right over here, on fire. And I don't know. That's what same thing if Devontae went there. Like I can't wear his jersey anymore, but I still have it. But if he went to the Chiefs, I would burn it. Fire. What is this? Another alert. Oh, it's Josh Allen again. Oh, and Justin Fields is testing free agency. I really needed to know that. So Max Crosby gets his deal, 35 a year average. So he's the highest paid non-quarterback. Then right away Myles Garrett goes. So that's great. But I'm glad Max Crosby is sticking around. I didn't want to see the Khalil Mack situation evolve again.
Do you think Myles Garrett was just kind of like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to win, so I'd rather just get paid.
Yeah, yes, he wants his money. He wants his money. I said, like that Chappelle show, got you, bitch. Like that's how I think he acted this whole time. Got you, bitch, and he got his money. So $123.5 million guaranteed. That might not get you a Super Bowl, but sign me up to lose for $123 million. I'll tell you that.
2030, I would imagine he'll be like 33, 34.
He's good.
So I'll look him up. So I mean, you could still go to a contender. He'll go to the Chiefs at that point.
Sure. And then kind of the Raiders also signed Alex Kappa from the Bengals. Obviously, they weren't going to pay him. He had a rough year last year, so that one doesn't really excite me. Guard. We released our center, Andre James. Jackson Powers Johnson is probably going to take over that spot, and he's a mauler, so I'm excited about that. And then kind of the bigger news that the Raiders signed Geno Smith as a quarterback. So we still have the worst quarterback in the division.
You signed him, or did you give him an extension? You traded for him.
The extension hasn't happened yet, I don't think.
Extension hasn't happened yet. So we traded for him. We signed. Well, I guess he's not signed yet. So we gave our 3rd round pick. It's not the pick we got from the Jets for Devontae. It's a different 3rd round. That's been a misconception that we traded Devontae Adams for Geno Smith. He is still an upgrade compared to any quarterback we've had in the last 3 years.
For sure.
Jimmy, Minshew, Alex Hoyer, Aiden O'Connell. I'd say he's better than all of them, hands down.
He's got great numbers indoors. Outdoors, he's not great, but indoors, he's actually got really good numbers.
Right, and we talked about this last year. We were kind of surprised at his speed that he put out last year. He had a couple rushing touchdowns that were really surprising.
He obviously Denver in week 1 on like a 40-yarder.
Yep, and that was the big thing about Denver versus them to start the season. But he's not the quarterback of the future. I hope that's not the plan. I want to see what the Raiders do in the draft. I really don't think this means we're going to take a quarterback in the 1st round. I think that they're going to take Genty from Missouri? No, where the hell is he from?
Boise State.
Boise State. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. It is.
So the best, the cool thing you can do about that is on Underdog Fantasy, you can do the over and under on Ashton Jenney, number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Promo code RTK. Spend $100, get $100. Take advantage of the draft because I will. I think everyone here will. So
do that. Great pitch there, Coach. So that's it. So sign Geno Smith. I don't think that means we're taking a 1st-round quarterback. Max Crosby's here to stay for another 3 years, and then Alex Kappa, guard, I'm not excited about. Nick, have the Broncos done anything?
No. Not really.
No,
we're just hanging out. So
cool.
We've got a decent amount of money, but a lot of it I think is going to be some restructures and some extensions for our own guys. And I think Russell Wilson's still eating like 30 some million, which sucks.
How does
Because
your
we could
GM
have
that
had-
signed him still have a job? I don't know.
Yeah,
how he's-
yeah.
What's his name?
And you know what? It's George Payton.
Yeah, I don't know.
And here's the deal. Hindsight, obviously, terrible deal. Not good. But everyone was going to do it, and he wasn't going to get traded without a new contract anyway. So you had to do it. And again, at the time, looked like a genius move. Obviously, it did not work out well. But I've let all that go. So, but like I was saying, the problem is we're still eating like 30-some million in that cap. Otherwise, we'd have a ton of room. But here's the deal. Like he talked about earlier, it's not that great of a class anyway.
No.
So it is what it is. So I think they'll work on getting Nick Bonito extended. We're probably gonna have to do something at inside linebacker still. I know that Spillane's been one of the guys that has been rumored that we'd be interested in. It was Nick Bolton for a while. Obviously, that was taken
Robert
away from us.
Spillane, the Raiders linebacker. Oh, he's
Mhm.
not going anywhere. Oh, I realized I didn't give
I've seen it.
free agent I want, but that's fine.
Yeah, who's the free agent you?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's very quick. Byron Murphy, cornerback from the Vikings. He's 27. I think he was tied for third in interceptions last year with 6. So I like that. You're not getting Robert Spillane. He's the backbone to our defense besides Max Crosby.
We'll see.
But he would be great for you. I'm not saying that. I liked him in Pittsburgh and he'd be good in Denver, but I want him to stay in Vegas for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a Robert Spillane expert, but I've liked what I've seen, and it's just one of those things that he's kind of been like, hey, let's see if Denver goes for him. So I don't know.
Sure he picked off Pat Mahomes, if I recall.
I love that.
Yeah, who doesn't? Really cool, guys.
But no, other than that, I mean, it's just going to be a lot of our own guys this year. It seems like inside linebacker, maybe D line, depending on what we end up doing with DJ Jones. But again, if we re-sign DJ Jones, then we don't really need anybody there.
What about? Let me throw this out there. Stephon Diggs.
No, not interested.
Yeah, he's past his prime.
Not interested. So
not even on a prove it 1 year, 2 year deal. Not a lot of money. If it's
not a lot of money,
1 year,
I take him on a 1 year deal.
Let's say 2 years, $15 million.
Yeah,
you agree with that?
I think so. Him in the locker room is not something I really want.
Yeah, it's
but
I think
for
better
7.5 a year,
better in Houston. But
yeah, for 7.5 a year, and you've got some decently strong leaders in that locker room that I think it'd probably be fine. And at $7.5 million, it's probably worth the risk. But you start talking 15, 20, no, absolutely not.
Coming off an ACL, I mean, granted,
Yeah.
Devontae got paid, so I don't know. If you got cash to spend it, I don't think you should just spend it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
So
these next 24 hours, like we were just talking about in the group chat and before we went on, it's going to be crazy. It'll be fun to see. There'll be trades. There'll be obviously some free agent signings. So like we'll talk about Josh Sweat's going to get paid an exorbitant amount of money. Good for him. Doesn't necessarily deserve
in overpay is what you're saying.
An overpay.
And I agree with you.
An overpay. I think Devontae was a little bit of an overpay already.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what Sam Darnold gets. Before we cut off for the night, what's your prediction on where Sam Darnold goes? Because at one point we thought he might be going to you.
So I will say that I'm happy we have Geno Smith instead of him. I don't buy into the Darnold hype. Oh, Coach, your favorite fan has checked in.
Who?
I didn't see it.
my man, I miss you, dude. I miss you.
Julian has checked in. Hey, Coach, with all due respect, F yo team. And that's Julian, who's a WYO Raiders 307, one of our that's an OG
fans. That's an OG.
Yeah. Julian is OG. He started in 18. It was right around then. He hopped on. So yeah, that's loyalty, and he's been hating on Coach ever since.
Yep. It's a love-hate respect thing between us two.
Yes, but yeah, I think Darnold's going to the Seahawks. I really did not want him in Vegas. I think he had like flash in the pan. Kevin O'Connell's an amazing coach. I think you're going to get Jets Darnold almost anywhere else unless he goes to like the Rams and he can be joysticked by Sean McVay. But
So you think Seattle?
I think Seattle. That's my bet.
What do you think his contract looks like? Do you think it's a prove it deal again?
I
Like a higher paid prove it deal?
I think it's like a 3-year, $110 million. I think it's very similar to Mayfield.
Okay. Like you said, 3 years, 120 is the estimate.
Yeah, 110 to 130 would be my guess.
And you know what? Probably when we sign off here, it's going to break. So
yeah, I'm sure. So I'll go ahead and give my free agent. So the one I was looking at that I decided not to go with was actually Darius Slayton from the Giants.
I thought Spillane was your guy.
No.
Oh, you were just talking about him. Oh, all right, I got it.
Yeah. I was just talking about it because I said we need inside linebacker help, and that's just a guy that's been connected to him. But nothing official yet, obviously, because no tampering. Of course,
very similar. But yeah, not Slayton. I think Slayton just never has gotten his full.
Yeah, he's been good. He's got the potential for some big play opportunities.
Hey, Julian says y'all be good. Still got that flag y'all sent me. We sent him one of the Raider Nation flags that we got from Oakland.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
We reward loyalty on this show.
Yep.
So he seemed like he could be a cheap wide receiver option, but Sean Payton loves the wide receiver room. And if everybody takes a step forward, like, Marvin Mims steps up, Devon Vele can step up.
Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
That's who Coach had a big draft crush on last year.
Yep.
If everyone takes the step that they're supposed to, then it will be a good receiver room. But usually you just can't count on that. So I wouldn't mind signing a receiver. But my free agent to watch, and this kind of goes against my draft pick, but I want Evan Ingram. I think he would be a great addition to this team. We need a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
I've been vocal about getting Bo a tight end and a running back, but I really think Evan Ingram do what?
Very vocal about a running back.
Yeah, it's been bad, which sucks too, because Javonte was so good before he destroyed his knee. But anyway, I think Evan Ingram's the guy that if I were just picking right now, that's probably who I'd go with, because I really don't think he'll be that expensive either.
No, I think you can get him at a good deal. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my guys.
I want to say I like that for you, but I don't really want to deal with him in the division. I'd rather you went after like a Zach Ertz who actually got extended in Washington.
Got extended
he's extended, right?
Jaden Daniels, man, coming in hot. Well, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for this week. So that was like a free agency preview. Next, we're going to do a free agency review. We did our little combine winners and losers. I think all three of us agree that Shedeur Sanders is a massive loser.
Unreal. Unreal.
Look, when he drops out of the top 15 at the draft, we'll see.
We can make a bet on that if you want.
I don't know about 15. We'll have to talk about that one. So we'll do a free agency wrap up at the end of the week, maybe, or early next week, and then it's pure draft time. And Coach, you're going to lead the way on that one. So
we got you. We got your mock draft Monday coming tomorrow.
Yep, my first one for mock draft Monday,
and then we'll just rotate until draft time.
Beautiful. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling, and we will. Drizzy just said DK to the Steelers.
Is he guessing or is that real?
I don't know, Drizzy. What is it? But you just punched in. Is it legit or is it not?
No, it's legit.
It's legit.
Okay. They just traded him to the Steelers.
Wow.
For what? Did they give a second?
It doesn't say yet.
Oh my!
It says
God. This is like we literally could just like live stream until tomorrow.
Yep, there's for premium draft pick compensation.
Yeah, I saw they wanted this.
He is gonna get paid.
The boy, should we just stay up for the rest of the night?
Yeah, let's just
wait for the next one to come in. Hey, Drizzy, I appreciate the heads up there, bud. This is nuts. All right. I feel bad that we're signing off now.
Pickens,
really
the Steelers, dude. I mean, there's gonna be no excuses. Yeah, we got to get off here, dude. Because
we're done. We're
tapping out.
Good night, everyone. We're tapping out. It continues. All right, he's going to the Steelers. That's it. Good night, everybody.
All right, go Chiefs.
Night, fellas.